Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching 2021 Taiwan Creativity Week, Young Creatives Forum. My name is Hao. I'm a creative from Leo Burnett, Taiwan. And today we're having two world famous creative talents who has created Cannes Lion winning campaign, The Refugee Nation in 2017. We're so happy to have them joining us today and hope we can all learn from their great works and experience. Let's welcome Caro Rebello and Artur Lipori. Okay,
I think,
hello. Yeah.
hi. First of all, thank you so much for the invite. It's an honor to be here and to be part of the 2021 Taiwan Creativity Week, sharing a little bit of our work and hopefully getting some young folks inspired. My name is Caro. I'm a VP Creative Director at McCann. I'm Brazilian and started my career in advertising in Brazil as an art director in 2003 and moved to the US in 2013, where I've been living and working for 8 years and 7 months now.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Artur Lipori. I'm a VP Creative Director at McCann, New York. I'm originally from Brazil, where I started my career. And since 2014, I've been working in the United States in agencies like TBWA, Ogilvy, and McCann. Really glad to be here with you. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. It's going to be fun.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for accepting our invitation. In today's session, we'll be discussing the Refugee Nation campaign and how can we keep making doing good campaigns in this industry. So now let us jump to the first session and watch the case film of the Refugee Nation.
Refugee Olympic.
For the first time ever, a refugee team was going to compete in the Olympics. 10 athletes with no national team, no flag, and no anthem to call their own. The whole world was looking at them. Could we turn a team of 10 into a team of millions?
The Olympic refugees have been making a name for themselves, and now they may have a flag.
Essa bandeira aqui é a bandeira dos refugiados. E a inspiração veio das cores do colete salva-vidas.
We partnered with refugees across the globe to design a flag and compose an anthem to represent the athletes.
Black and orange is a symbol of solidarity with all the brave souls that had to cross the sea to look for safety in a new country.
Refugee athletes embraced the national symbols.
Eu também vou levar a bandeira do meu time refugiado.
The crowd got two new colors to cheer for, and in one of the most formal and organized events, a new nation broke in, raising a flag for those who were forced to leave their own countries. From Lesbos to Kakuma, refugee camps now shared a symbol of hope.
Bandeira para os refugiados significa muito.
And for the first time ever, a symbolic nation was officially recognized at the One Young World Summit.
Qatar, the refugee nation.
The flag made it to the most political Oscars ever.
With refugees everywhere, I'm actually wearing a pin for the Refugee Nation as well.
And was exhibited at MoMA and the Victoria and Albert Museum.
We live in such a visual world now that people will start to recognize the flag with the discussion.
The flag is in the permanent collection of the V&A Museum now because it marks a crucial moment in the contemporary history.
This is really beautiful. The refugee team has their first appearance in 2016's Rio Olympics without a flag. Is this where you started the idea, and how did it happen?
So yeah, in 2016, a few months before the Olympics in Rio, we learned about a refugee team competing for the first time ever in an Olympic event. And we also learned that these 10 refugee athletes would not have a flag, an anthem, and a nation to call their own. So for that reason, these athletes would be competing under the Olympic flag. So at that moment, we realized that we needed to create these national symbols to represent them. And the process was interesting because, like at first we tried to brainstorm, Cara and I trying to brainstorm how this flag would look like. So, and then at some point we thought, wait, what's going on here? this is not right. We don't understand the struggle of being a refugee. We don't understand the pain of not having a place to call home. So we understood at that point that we are not the ones that should create those symbols. So that's when we realized that we needed to partner with refugees to create this nation. So we got in touch with many different refugee artists around the globe, and many of them got excited about joining us in the project. But one answer really stood out, and that answer came from a Syrian refugee artist called Yara Said. She was currently living in Amsterdam, and she said that the colors of the flag should be orange and black, the same colors of the life jackets many refugees had to wear while crossing the sea, looking for safety in a new country. And then she added that she had to wear those jackets through her personal journey, fleeing from Syria to Amsterdam. And like that story really resonated with us.
Mhm.
So I told that story so many times, and like we still feel the goosebumps every time we talk about this, because it was like the insight about the colors was like so powerful, so meaningful, that we knew she needed to be with us in this project. And after a couple of rounds of collaboration with Yara, we landed on a final design that is super simple and striking: the orange flag with the simple black stripe. And that's basically how this story started. It became much bigger later, but like that's the core of the Refugee Nation project.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add one detail, a bit of context around the refugee crisis in that year.
Mhm.
In 2015, beginning of 2016, the refugee crisis in Europe, especially with Syrian refugees, reached the major global headlines. And we were facing like the biggest number of refugees and displaced people ever migrating around the world. So it was a real issue, and we felt we had to do something for these people. We didn't know exactly what until we stumbled upon the news about the Olympic Games and the refugee team. So just to understand like our mindsets during that time, and refugee crisis was all over the news.
Thank you, thank you. I think this is a really important context behind the scene. It sounds like that it was not a huge campaign at first. Like you want to do something just a flag for the refugees, right? But how and why you want to make it bigger? Because we see that the whole flag has go on a lot of press, and also it actually being used by the refugee in the next Olympic game.
At the very beginning, we thought the Refugee Nation would be just a symbolic nation to represent the 10 athletes competing in the Olympics. So actually, there's a fun fact about this. Like the original idea was called 17-Day Nation, because we wanted this symbolic nation to last just 17 days, the 17 days of the Olympic Games. But after a few days developing the project, we realized that it could be much more. So we understood that the refugee flag could be a symbol of solidarity to represent millions of displaced people around the world, something much bigger than we previously had thought.
And about how and why we want to make it bigger, right? So to make the impact that we were aiming for, we needed to have the flag recognized, and known as the refugee flag, the same way that the rainbow flag is known as the LGBTQ flag. So, and to do that, we started to spread the symbol around the world, starting in the Olympics. So first, the refugee athletes embraced the flag. Then other athletes and big names in sport embraced the flag too. Then people rooting for the refugee athletes and refugee communities recognized the flag as their official flag during the Olympics. And even the Olympic Games let the flag be displayed in an official game. After that, the biggest museums worldwide wanted to have the flag in their collections. Some of them, like MoMA and V&A, have the flag in their permanent collections right now. The flag also got embraced by world leaders, universities, schools, brands, and we even have now the refugee flag as an official emoji on every Android phone. So we soon realized that, what we created was a much bigger symbol, and the refugee flag ended up becoming this symbol of solidarity with refugees and all displaced people that could get otherwise invisible. So the flag not only gave them two colors, orange and black, but also became a tool to help them be seen and be heard.
I totally agree that the first original idea, the 17 days flag, is kind of like impactful, or like it can grab a lot of like PR attentions, right? But after you change it to like a larger scale, I think it starts to be more meaningful. And then the refugee themselves, they started to use this flag, and a lot of like resources and other organizations start to help you and to have this flag to be seen in like more places, more occasions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the next question will be that it seems like you have to find someone to design the flag, and then you find those refugees to reach out to them. And how do you convince others to join and help on this campaign? Because it started by just you two, right? And do you think that we need to take actions more proactively as a creative and gather resources in order to achieve this kind of great works?
So yeah, at the very beginning, when we kind of like solidified the idea, we understood that we needed to, as I explained before, we needed to collaborate with refugees to bring this idea to life. So that's when we reached out to many different refugee artists, and at the same time many different refugee composers, and we heard from them, and we understood that like Yara Said's answer was amazing, and her insight was really like inspiring, and that's when we realized that she was the one, and she was super excited about the idea as well. And same for Mutazarian, really talented guy who created this beautiful anthem with no lyrics, really to to, because like music is the language that everybody understands, it's inclusive, so that's a really thoughtful anthem. So that's the basis of like this nation started like that, by reaching out through proactively. Cara and I reached out to these refugees, but like after a few days working on this idea, we realized like how big it could be, and that's when we understood that we needed to actually to have a big team building this nation with us. So we presented the idea to a film production company called Asteroid in Brazil, and a music house called Canja in Brazil, both very, very talented. And I remember we hadn't even finished the presentation to them, and they were like, come on, let's do this. Like we're totally, we gotta do this together. So, and within the agency, we also needed support to help us expand the idea. And in that sense, we were very, very lucky to find very committed, talented creatives. And I'm really grateful that to all the folks that helped us to bring this idea to life. So, and just taking the opportunity to say special thanks to Rodrigo, Belen, and Ricard, who are also like they worked at the very beginning. They're still working with us in this project. So that's amazing that we found so many talented people to join us.
And yeah, that was truly special. And about the second part of your question about being more proactive, we believe that, you know, when it comes to causes that you care about, we can't wait for the perfect brief to arrive on our desks. So most of the time, this brief needs to be brought in proactively. So the next big idea could probably be sitting in a study somewhere or in a news article right now, you know, just waiting to be explored and brought to life through a big idea. So we just have to search for it. So it's crucial to take action proactively in order to find the great briefs.
I see. Okay. So one more question, like, may I ask, why do you think this topic, the refugee topic, related to you? And how can we cultivate an open, creative mind connected to the world? Because I totally agree what you said is that we can't wait for the perfect brief to be on our desk. So how can we like to take actions more proactively and to know like what things else is going on and we can help?
So yeah, about this, you know, specific topic about refugees being related to myself, I feel like, in just a little context again, like in 2016, the more I read the news, the stories about refugees, families being separated, about people swimming across the sea, no food, no water, people risking their lives and sometimes dying trying to have a better life. The more I felt and I realized how privileged I was to have my family safe, I have a home in a country that where I can live free from war, and that I would probably never during my lifetime need to flee to save my own life. My privilege is extended to my job. So we work in this industry that sells what's in people's pockets, what they eat, what they dress, how they spend their time, how they spend their money, how they connect with people, and so on. So we use our creativity every day to help brands be relevant in people's lives. So why not create ideas that could also positively impact the world, or can make people's lives better, or can help create awareness uh, around the most important world issues? So I always say that creativity is our superpower, and the way we choose to use our superpower makes all the difference. So for me, this project happened as a mission, and it sparkled in me what I consider today my purpose in advertising, which is to use creativity to help people, help the world, and make our lives better somehow.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Thank you, Artur. I think
Yeah,
I
so
totally agree. Yeah, sorry.
no, sorry, no, just because there's like, just if it's okay, I'd like to add one thing about, like I totally agree with what Carol just said, like, and it resonates with me, like that was really the sparkle of, as a team we understood, oh my God, this feels good, this is the right thing to do. We had some other projects in the past that were kind of like created to do good, but like that was the one that really got lots of attention, and that's when we kind of like started to shift more towards the do good, like kind of type of work. And like, but to your question about, like how can we cultivate an open, because this is part of the question, right? Like how can
Yes.
we cultivate an open creative mind connected to the world? So I'd say that, like a good way to start is by staying informed, because the main problems of the world are already in the news every day. So, like in a sense, the best briefs are there. You just need to learn about them. They're waiting for you to tackle them in a sense. So the next idea, as Carlos said, could be sitting in this news article or scientific study that you read this morning, so that could be the insight of a big of the next big thing that you create. And in addition, I'd say that, like, pay attention to the people around you, try to understand, like what they need, what makes their lives better, happier, and more accessible. So that will give you like lots of insights. So to summarize, I'd say stay informed, stay curious, and personally that's how I feel, and I think that you can prepare your mind to come up with creative solutions to global issues.
Yes. Thank you. I
Yeah.
totally agree and feel the same way, that if we pay more attention on different topics and things happening around the world, there's always a chance for us to do more and to make differences to the world. So I
Exactly.
think this is really related to our next topic, like creating doing good works. So let us jump to the next session. Um, look into your works. We found out there's like always a purpose, like doing good behind all these works. Like, is this kind of mindset, like doing something good to the world or to people you cared, really important to you as being advertisers or creatives?
Yeah, I think it's important to have, this mindset of doing good in everything we do. I think whenever we have the chance to. So I know the industry is not perfect, and not every time you'll be able to sell an idea that also does good. But little by little, brands are positioning themselves more and standing for causes that, you know, people care about and the world cares about. So we can, you know, there's this opportunity there that it's rising. And there's one more thing that, you know, we can also be the catalysts of change. Creatives can be the catalysts of change as well. So we can push for ideas that have a true impact on people's lives and work to bring this mindset of doing good to every brief whenever it's possible. I think it's in our hands too, not waiting to have that perfect brief on your desk. So it's, you know, it's up to us as well to choose what we present and what kind of ideas we push for.
Exactly. And so, you know, like just to jump on what Carl was just saying, like as creatives, we as a team believe that, you know, like we have this crucial role of looking at the big picture and, you know, and trying to understand opportunities where the brands you serve could potentially do good for the world. So it's part of our job as well, understanding that. And, you know, so because there are so many, if you think there are so many things to be tackled, right? Like climate change, gender inequality, refugee crisis, LGBTQ plus acceptance still in many places in the world, hunger, like even like few things that relate more like to the near future, like genetic engineering. There's so many subjects. So there might be something new in the brand you work for can do to tackle at least one of these issues, right? So maybe if you won't be able to do that on every single brief you work on, that's okay. But like trying to infuse these big issues as much as possible in your projects is already a big win, not just for you, but like for our industry and for the society in general.
Let's jump to the next session, doing good works to make a better world. Before jumping into the session, I would like to invite our audience to watch the case film Phone Life Balance from Carol and Artur.
There's a study from Motorola that emphasizes our struggle with the phone life balance.
Yes.
So according to the survey, 33% of people, and this makes me so sad, have prioritized their phone over the people they care about.
Yep, that's true. We spend too much time on these. But wait, is that what we've really become? The company that invented the smartphone thinks it's time for a little phone life balance. To make people rethink how much time we spend on our phones, Motorola created hyper-realistic figures and placed them all over New York City.
By building a replica of an actual human being, we allow people to recognize themselves, and that means they can change their behaviors.
Let us put it this way. When you show people how ridiculous we look, we definitely rethink what we're doing.
Can you take a picture of us?
This thing looks real, man.
Yeah.
What does it say?
We saw the message and we were just like, very true.
That mannequin's a perfect representation of like what's going on in our culture right now.
Through our hashtag, we started a conversation about phone life balance. Our online platform invited people to take a simple quiz so they could check their smartphone behavior and learn how to improve it.
I think we need to be more honest with ourselves of like how much time we're investing in this and just being conscious of it.
Fantastic.
The smartphone industry wants to keep us looking down, and this is something to help us look up again.
That it's really interesting to kind of how can we convince a phone product client to do such kind of work, like telling people not to look at your phone all the time. Can you share more about this interesting campaign?
Yeah, sure. Like interesting enough, like it all started with a study backed by Motorola, and this study was showing that the average person spends hours a day staring at their phones. So and the study like kept going, digging into finding more data, and they found that like they were trying to understand how that behavior could negatively affect people's social lives and also their mental health. So it was really interesting study from Motorola and Harvard University, by the way. And that was years ago. So there were like just a few people at the time talking about, this subject. Like it was not a mainstream subject at the moment. So, for example, at the time, the iPhone didn't have any function to help people track their screen time, for example. So we decided that there was something really powerful about a smartphone company asking people to spend less time on their phones, something really interesting. And that's when the strategy coined the term phone life balance. And we thought, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the right thing to say.
Yeah. And then after that, we came up with a way to not only say that, but show people how immersed they were in their own phones and not even realizing it. So by creating those hyper realistic statues glued to their phones and spreading the statues all over New York City, we brought awareness to this new term, phone life balance, and also made people see themselves in those statues. And ultimately, we wanted to make people rethink their own behavior with their smartphones.
So how did the client react when you pitched this idea to them? They just like think, oh, this is interesting, or they like kind of like resist this kind of idea. I'd like to know more about this.
So I think, like the clients were very brave on this on this brief, because like they were the ones backing, as I said, like they were the ones backing the study. They wanted to understand better the like how that thing that they were creating could impact people's lives, and they want to help them do better, because like it's like it's all about how we interact with each other, and people were like neglecting times with friends and family to stay on their phones. And they were like brave and reasonable enough to understand that this is not the way we want the society to go. And that's when we backed the study, and they gave us like lots of like autonomy and freedom to come up with something bold to make people realize that.
Because in the end,
Yes.
it was like an experiment, right? We were
Yes.
doing something that, was literally like going out in the world and seeing and testing how people would react to those statues, and if that would have an impact in their behavior. And the response that we got from people was like, everybody was like, oh my God, I'm shocked. I can see myself in that statue. I can see myself spending a lot of time on my phone. And it was amazing. It was super interesting to get that feedback from real people. And as Arthur said, the clients were like so brave to do that experiment. And
and like one important
happen.
important part of this campaign was our team created a really simple but comprehensive quiz where people could answer questions and understand their smartphone behavior, like things that they could understand the level of like how addicted they were to their phones and learn how to improve it. So that was really part of like the arch. Like the status had the goal of like making people like to shock people a little bit and make them understand this is not right. And then through the hashtag phone life balance, we started this conversation and help people improve their behavior. So it's not just awareness, it's awareness plus change in tackling something really important, that is mental health.
Yes, I really like the way how you like not stopping at having awareness, but trying to solve the question, the problem itself, and try to do more about this topic. Thank you for sharing this precious insight and experience about doing great works to help the world. And next, we would like to ask you guys for some advice and tips to do this kind of great works to Taiwan's young creatives. So the first question, how to work on client works and meaningful works, maybe like side projects at the same time, or how to make these side projects official.
For me, I always thought that it's important to have at least one project that you truly care about. It can be an assigned project from a brief or even like a side proactive project, as long as it's something that makes you enjoy the work and gives you a reason to wake up every day. So a good reason, a good, sorry. So a good way to start a project that you love is first to see which brands in the agency you work on are aligned with your beliefs or care about the same causes that you care about. That could be a huge opportunity for you to present proactive work that has an impact on people's lives and for a real client. So, side projects, you know, even for side projects for proactive projects or side projects, even if it's for brands, can take a little bit of digging and studying, which will probably take some extra hours, some extra effort. But I think it's so rewarding to be working on something that matters and that matters to you. That's worth it. It's worth it, the time that you're going to spend and the research. So it's always like, take a look at the clients that are right now in your agency. If any of these clients are right now tackling some of the world issues, or if there's anything in their values that aligns with your value, like with your beliefs, and then start from there and start presenting proactive work from there.
Okay, thank you.
And just like echoing a little bit what Carla just said, like I'd say, really try to think about the global and local issues you care about. Start from there, because like let's say it's climate change. So take some time to think how the brands you work on every day can maybe tackle this issue. Maybe there's something there, or like how can you invent something completely new to address a certain problem related to climate. I think the beauty of this, and actually the beauty of our profession in general, is that today can be the day that you create something that will make the world a little better. We all have this opportunity every day, and this is amazing. Like, so, and that's honestly that's what reminds me every day why I love what I do. And I think if we all think like that, as we spoke in the previously, like we can turn our job into actually a mission. So that's a huge opportunity.
And I just wanted to add one other thing related to what Artur said, that my all-time advice is always like, when presenting an idea that you truly believe in, don't settle with the no as the first answer. Be a little bit of annoying, like sometimes, and keep bugging and pushing until you get to the right people that will help you bring your idea to life. And trust your gut feeling. Sometimes we present something that it's kind of new and people are not like prepared for that, and their first reaction will be like, no, I don't think we can do that. But if you feel like if you have a feeling that that's a huge opportunity, keep bugging, keep pushing, and at some point you're gonna have someone that will be like, okay, let's do this. And yeah, just wanted to add that.
And even like try it, like sometimes you need, like, a deck's not enough to really like show the potential of the idea. Sometimes you need to prototype, you need to start doing things. So do it yourself, because when you have the right idea in your hands, a powerful idea in your hands, it's almost like a call, like to like go for it. So do stuff. Like, worst case scenario, you try to change the world, like, but like keep pushing. I think this is super important, resilience in our profession. Like I saw like lots of teams having great ideas. I think what differentiate them, what makes them like a team that have more impact is the resilience, the persistence. Keep going and make this thing happen.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is like really um, practical advice to Taiwan's creative, because sometimes I feel that we're just like thinking of ideas, but we're not actually doing ideas. But I think like taking actions and start to do something is what we need right now, because sometimes we can't persuade or convince others with nothing or just like presentations, right? So I think this is really nice. Cool. So the next question we have is, oh, is work-life balance important to you? Like, how's life working as an advertiser in New York? Like, why we're having this question is because I personally believe that ideas and creativity comes from our life experience. But like people in Taiwan as an advertiser usually spend a lot of time at work. So we need some advice, like to tell people that maybe we can go out more and to have more
Yeah,
experience of life.
I think
definitely.
well, the first part of your question, right? Like about work-life balance. I think it's the most important thing. Like, creativity without leisure time has no use. Like as you said, like we have to live, we have to be with friends, we have to rest, we have to be with family, we have to go to the movies, to the park, and we have to have time to do nothing sometimes as well, in order to fuel our creativity and fuel our references, our vision, and even like to notice the opportunities around us. As Arthur said before, like looking at people around you and understanding what they need. This is also like something that you have to be living to be able to be with other people and understand their issues and all that. So I think it's absolutely crucial to have work-life balance, and we need to have that.
Yeah. And like personally, I totally agree with that. We need to live these experiences and understand the problems and to recharge our minds. But like there's another thing that like I feel that my mind has a certain number of hours of autonomy. Like it goes well along the day, but like if it's too late at night and I'm tired, there's a good chance that I won't making the right decisions. So like in that sense, the best thing to do is like to let your mind rest and continue the next day. You need to respect your body. So and there's another thing, if you do that, you probably do the same task in half of the time the next morning, just because your
Yes.
mind is recharged and ready to work again. So we need to respect our bodies. That's really important for creativity.
Agree. I totally feel the same way, that we need to have a control of our like energy and flow and to come up with good ideas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And about the work in advertising in New York, um, I mean, advertising in New York can be crazy sometimes. It's amazing. It's amazing how fast things happen here. Sometimes I feel like we are literally in the center of the world. It can be overwhelming, but opens a lot of possibilities. And I'm not gonna lie that working hours can get pretty insane sometimes, depending on the number of projects that you are working on at the same time. But it's definitely like a great school. I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning a lot every day. But for me, the most important thing is how, like, it's not where you work, but who you are working with. If your managers share the same vision as you on everything, right? On work-life balance, and if your values and lifestyles are similar or not. This is super important, to know, because at the end of the day, it's much more about the people you work with and less about where in the world you are, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, just my take on this, like, you know, like I love New York, and I feel that is a really, like, it's a privilege being here. So one example was like when we were doing the Refugee Nation project, we ended up knowing a person who knew somebody in the UN, and we managed to schedule a meeting to present the project, the Refugee Nation project in the UN. And we took a cab, like in 15 minutes later, we were there at the UN presenting the project to a lot of influential people. So in that sense, it's really a privilege because you are in this hub where lots of big things happen. So it's amazing. New York, it's only in New York some of these things. At the same time, I truly believe that you can do, as Carlos said, like good work and do good for the world from wherever you are. You know, like it's much more about the people. It's much more about what surrounds you, like in understanding the problems. It's about staying curious, you know, about what the world needs and finding ways to solve them, these problems, with creativity. And to do that, it doesn't matter where you are. You can just like need to, you know, like be ready to absorb that information.
Cool. I think I don't know. I personal feel like really excited, like hearing you guys sharing this kind of experience, because I feel totally the same way. I believe that this experience and this sharing will be like really impactful to Taiwan's audience. Um, Thank you guys again, Caro and Artur. Really appreciate your participation in today's interview, and I really hope that like in someday we can meet up in Cannes, the festival. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if, don't be surprised if any people, Taiwanese people, come to you guys and say hello, because I think like a lot of people will know you guys. Yeah,
Well, for
we all
sure, it's
hope.
gonna be a pleasure.
Yeah, we all
Definitely.
hope. Oh, we all hope that we can like gather in Cannes Lions like every year.
Oh my
Cool.
God, yes. Thank you
Oh,
so much
thank
for the
you.
time and for having us. Like, it
Yeah,
would be
thank you.
amazing to meet in person next time, as you said, like hopefully in Cannes.
No problem.
Yeah,
No
thank you so
problem.
much. Like, it's such a, like, really appreciate the invitation. It's an honor for us to be here and to, you know, like, if we could have inspired one person,
Yeah.
that's really enough. Like, we're happy. Like, it was all or worth it. So thank you very much. Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.